Hello, everyone. Sometimes as we walk in life and we stumble upon different people, different personalities, right? There are those people that fit the general population, and there are those people that stand out for being unique. And same thing can be applied to countries and cultures and so forth. Some people stand out, some people are more in the background, not in the center, but more shifted towards the left or towards the right. And it's common to say that people who are physicists or who are scientists are out of the box. But I can prove to you that's not necessarily true. For example, you might have a student, or you might have a person or an adult or any and so forth, a person that is a physicist, that is a scientist, and you say, wow, that person is completely outside of the box. But here's the problem. You can never engage in a conversation with that person on anything but physics, on anything but science. So what does that mean? Is that really outside the box? It looks very inside the box to me. So we have to understand that in our life, we need a balance. We need an equilibrium. And what happens is that, fine, if you want to think like a physicist because you are a physicist, or if you want to think like a scientist because you are a scientist, that's fine. But there's got to be times for other things as well. It's very common for great physicists in the world, great scientists, to not be able and to struggle talking and doing things besides science, besides physics. And this is a very common personality in the world. People who cannot think other than science, people that are always thinking intellectually, people that never relax. It's important to lay down in bed, listen to some music. It's important to go out with friends and have a conversation at a restaurant. It's important to go in a roller coaster sometimes in those parks. It's important to go to Hurricane Harbor, goes to water parks. It's important to play soccer. It's important to play basketball. It's important to do other things but physics and science. Because what happened is, if all your life is physics and science, you wake up in the morning, you read a book about physics. You are about to have lunch. Well, for breakfast, you decide to have a coffee with another friend of you to talk about physics. After lunch, you read some YouTube videos about physics. You're not doing anything else but that. You're going to go insane. That's the problem. So, going back to Greek philosophy, which is very broad, you can actually be a Greek philosopher in modern times and not just talk about one thing. Because Aristotle, the greatest, in my opinion, and Plato, also the greatest, in my opinion, they're both together at the top of the pyramid. It's important. It's possible to leave Greek philosophy and not just focus in physics, not just focus in science, but focus in everything. But there's a problem. Socrates said that a life without observation is not worth living. I say, yes, that's true. But a life without taking breaks is also not worth living. You can say, okay, this Wednesday, it's going to be a day that I'm going to focus on physics. Tomorrow, Thursday, I will refuse to read anything like that. And I will actually like to go to the theaters with my wife and do something else. On Friday, I would go with friends to a roller coaster ride. On Saturday, I'm going to go to the beach. There you go. And then another week, and then I take one day to do physics again. But we got to have a schedule, because what happened is when you do something over and over again, you overdo it and you go insane. Now, there's some exceptions, like for example, Isaac Newton had to think about physics for several days in a row until he arrived to his theories and his equations and his three laws of motions and blah blah blah. So there could be some benefits of thinking that same thing over and over again. But over the years, if you don't do something else, you become socially awkward. And that's the problem too, because if you want to know, if you want to have the ultimate knowledge, if you want to have all the wisdom that you can possibly get, it's also important to think on the right and on the left. It's also important to have an idea of what it's like to be everything. Because what's the point of being a Greek philosopher if you only understand one personality and you're completely alien to the rest? In order to have the wisdom of all things, we have to understand and live all things.